Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Strong and Simple podcast. We are so excited to be here today, joined by our very special guest, Marjorie Francis, who I have had the pleasure of knowing through Kettlebell Club with Coach Damali Frazier, who we've had previously on as a guest on the podcast. So I'm so excited for MJ to be here with us today to share with us all the wonderful things that she's doing in the fitness world and in her world. She is a size inclusive and anti-diet kettlebell coach that guides and supports the 9 to 5 crew in getting stronger and moving better. And she's just an amazing human. So welcome, MJ.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Michelle, for that intro. Appreciate that. And thank you both, to both you and Marissa, for having me on today. This is my first podcast. I think I shared with you. I was a little nervous about it, but as I said to my husband this morning,
difficulties that
I'm not
could
nervous.
possibly happen. You're not nervous.
No.
You're going to be perfect.
Yes. No, this is going to be great. So as Michelle said, I am Coach MJ, official name Marjorie Francis, but I also go generally by MJ. Sometimes I will go by Nishi as well. My family calls me Michelle, as my mom and I both have the same name, so just to make things easier, I became Michelle. So sometimes you will hear folks refer to me as Coach Nishi as well, but generally, MJ is what I go by. I am dedicated to the 9 to 5 crew. I do work as an executive assistant in the day and at night, I would say. I'm a kettlebell coach. So being in that environment and understanding what sitting for prolonged periods of time has done for my body has really led me to working with that group of folks the most. And with the pandemic, I've just found that working from home, yes, there's great pieces of being able to work from home. However, I find we're now working at our dining tables, we're working at our kitchen counters, we're working on our couches, and frankly, none of those things are ergonomically correct at all. I know for the longest time, this was me for the longest time, until I finally got a desk, which I now have. But a lot of folks are still dealing with that. So I wanted to make sure that I could give this group of folks ways to move throughout the day, ways to move at the end of the day, and just easy, simple. Because let's be real, we may be 9 to 5, but we're working 8, 10 hour shifts. So we're not trying to be in the gym for 2, 3 hours. We want to get in, we want to get out. So I want to, offer to folks quick, easy, simple movement, no overcomplications over here of just getting yourself moving and just moving in joy. I used to do these really long workouts. I used to be the one in the gym sometimes twice, 3 times a day, but it was not great for my body. And I need folks to understand that we don't need to push that hard at all. We just need simple movements in our life. That's it. Simple, joyful movements.
Simple, joyful movements.
I love that. It's so important. I think, especially like living in the age of social media where we do now, and it's like you see these, they get their reels posted on Instagram, and it's like, look, you can do this lunge with like your dumbbell on your head and your eyes shut and one hand behind your back, and that's going to be super effective. And it's like, does it need to be that complicated? Like, should you risk injury like that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Let's get back to the basics. Right?
Yeah.
And let's build and progress from there. It's scary to see them pushing this on folks, and especially now being the start of the year, that's all you're seeing. I know every single ad I see is about me just having, I don't know, lemon water and honey or salt, some random mix, and I fast for the rest of the day, and then maybe have a green juice at the end of the day. Yay!
Yeah.
That's so great today, right? But none of that is sustainable.
No.
That's sustainable. So it's how do we, change the industry and bring it into a space that is actually more conducive for the everyday folks, because that is totally at all. I don't know how we've gotten so far from it. it's interesting. I don't know how we've gotten so far from the basics, but I look forward to us getting to that space. And I think it's having people like yourselves that are speaking about the basics and where we need to be and starting where you are. I think we need more of that in the
Mm.
industry. And I think, and I hope that in time that will, drive things to change in the right direction. And I see more, a little bit more of that
Hmm.
on my
Mm.
page, but they
Yeah,
definitely push the crazy things out, especially this time of year. It's hard to go on.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. They that pushing of the extreme, or like I guess we've called it fitness entertainment, right? Where
Mhm.
because we've been conditioned to believe that movement is like boring or it's so hard and like you need to be you have to be super tough in order to move your body. So therefore you need to be um entertained in order to even possibly want to do any sort of exercising or movement, right? And there's usually a lot of diet culture, fat loss, weight loss looped in there. So you need to be entertained in order to want to move your body. So here's a bunch of all of these really complicated movements that, sure, you're not going to be bored, but are you really gaining all of the benefits of just doing a squat, right? Or
Yeah.
just doing a shoulder press? Like, learn those foundations, and then maybe you can do some of those fancier moves, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe you'll
Absolutely.
find that those fancier moves don't actually have the benefits as sticking with the foundational movements. So,
Yes.
Mhm.
And generally it's the latter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Yeah. I think for
But
the
it is,
average, oh, that's, I think for the average person, like with, who doesn't have like a ton of fitness background, right? It's hard to be convinced that the simple movements are beneficial because we're so oversold the crazy movements. So it's like you see the contrast between the two, and you're like, well, how can a squat possibly be as beneficial as doing a, I don't know, whatever crazy single leg barbell squat jump thing, whatever,
yes.
you know? Um, yeah. How do you kind of cut through that with the folks that you work with, kind of leading them to like, no, the simple can be most of the time, I would say, more effective.
hmm I think it's in sharing my story. So when I started my fitness journey, I probably started in 2011, and I started because at the time we were trying to have kids, and I was consistently told you're overweight, and
Mm.
that is the reason why. At that point, I think we had lost maybe three or four. I've lost track of this. We've lost seven to date.
Oh,
So
oh,
I think at that point we had
sorry.
lost three or four. So you're hearing from these professionals, and you're like, okay, all right, I'm the problem. So I'm gonna fix this. So I started, and I did all the things you could think of: the P90X, the T45, is that what it was called? I can't
Mm.
remember.
I think
T25
so.
maybe. I had all of them from Beachbody, every single
Mm-hmm.
one, and I probably
Me too.
still had the CDs somewhere in the garage. Um, and I did the 1200 calories, barely eating, all of that, but I was not happy.
Hmm.
My blood pressure actually skyrocketed. You would think, normally it's if you're overweight, that's where, but no, it went the other way once I started losing.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um, and being able to just share with folks the struggles that I went through trying to fit into this box that the industry has created for us, I find that I'm able to relate with them a little bit, and they're able to understand and be able to see why I want to shift them into keeping things simple,
Mm.
and keeping it at that basic level and then slowly progressing. And I was fortunate that I started training with my colleagues at work. That was where I started. We had a coach there, and then they weren't able to keep up with it. And I said, you know what, I will volunteer. And I did it for free with that group of folks. So I think being able to, talk everything through with them and actually take them through, and then being able to see their success and their progress in that time and go, okay, I don't need to do these crazy things. I can do these basic things, and improve and progress and get more confident. Like that's the sweet spot. And then being able to see that over and over, I think made the biggest difference. I know I had one client in particular, she had always dreamt of climbing Kilimanjaro. She was in her 50s. She was like, I want to do it before I hit 60. And, I like what you're saying here, and I think this will help me. And she went through the program with me. It was about a year that she trained with me, and then she climbed it. And just the confidence in seeing how she felt in that moment. And even now, I'm like, oh, getting chills. That's what gives me the joy is seeing folks being confident in themselves and believing that they belong. And they don't have to do the fancy things. They don't have to be told, go hard or go home, or it's what's the other sayings out there? Sweat is just the fat crying and all the other nonsense that we hear. They can believe that they can do it no matter what, and their coach will adapt to them. It's not the other way around. You don't come into my space and adapt to what I want. I adapt to you and what you and your body can do in that space. And I think that's just resonated with that group. And I think that's why I stick with my 9 to 5 crew, because they understand me and I understand them. And I think that makes a huge difference in a coach. I think you really need to understand your clientele to be able to do right by them, frankly, and for them.
Yeah. I love that meeting them where they're at and fully listening to what their goals are. Because I think that that's also something that can get lost in translation, and not for all trainers at all big box gyms, but a lot of times folks will go in and it might even be taking all of their confidence and settling anxiety to even ask for a session with the trainer, right? And then the most common goal that is then thrust upon most people is, well, jump on the scale here, jump on, let's, do these fat loss kind of drills and stuff. And then you're in a situation where if it took you everything you had to even want to speak to the trainer, now you feel there's like that power dynamic that can so easily happen, right? And you're like, oh, well, I guess I'm just going to follow along what this person's telling me to do. So to have coaches like you out there who are really listening and hearing what folks are coming to you with, and then providing them the information and the support they need for their goals is so important.
Agreed. I don't know, being in this space, it's not my full time, but it means so much to me to be able to coach folks and to make them know that they are strong.
Yeah.
Regardless of what weight you are picking up, you are strong. And for me, going in the gym and training and coaching fills up my cup and makes me stronger, not just in body, but also my mind and my soul. This training, folks, has really helped me to come out of my shell and to come out of that dark space where the losses have brought me in the past. So if I can be that person for someone to pull them out of whatever they may be going through, I want to be there for that person because it did that for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I coach.
That's so powerful. And thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm definitely more open about it now. It took many years for me to be able to talk about it without, all the tears. And
I'm sure
it's a lot easier to talk about it. But I know being in the space and being with caring coaches is what's helped me to be where I am. For sure. Like I know, Michelle, you mentioned Damali, like she's a huge mentor for me. And has helped me greatly to get into this space. And I think we both did Coach's Corner with her level 1.
Yep.
So looking forward to level 2. Are you joining level 2? So
I think I have to wait till the next time. I want to, but I had told myself no more courses. for this year because I just fill myself up with and I honestly want to do everything with Coach Damali all the time. So, but it's still, I don't know if registration's closed, but I haven't fully said no yet.
Okay, so maybe or maybe.
So like, yeah, so.
No more classes this year. It is January 22nd.
I just love to learn. I love to learn, and I love to learn. I love to learn and be in community with amazing people. And so I find myself just taking more courses with amazing people.
I totally get it. I totally get it. I've also said, although it's January, like you, I've been like, okay, I'm at my limit. In addition to the coaches corner that I'm going to start next week, I guess is when that starts, or this week rather. I'm also learning French because I decided, well, why not? I might as well. So
yeah,
I've just started that. I'm on module 1. It's 50 modules, so about 3.5 years.
Great.
I realized that well after I'd already signed up. I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be a 1-year program, in and out. And I was like, okay, all right. So I hear you, Michelle. I'm tapped out for the year.
Yeah.
It hasn't even started.
Yeah, 3 years.
Well, my French is limited to Je m'appelle Michel. Comment allez-vous?
Not voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Fromage. I know the important words.
It's an interesting language, that's for sure.
It is.
Many ways to say one thing is what I've learned the hard way.
You know, what's funny is, so when we travel and we're someplace that's like if we go to Mexico or Puerto Rico and it's primarily a Spanish speaking country, I find myself remembering a lot of French from freshman and sophomore year in high school instead of the Spanish that I took junior and senior year. And I just kind of in my brain for whatever reason, I don't even realize that I still have any of that vocabulary or semantics in my brain. And it kind of just comes out when it's all around you. But then I find myself, wait, was that a French vocabulary word or is it a Spanish vocabulary word? And then I can't remember. So,
I go into both. I took Spanish in school, so when I'm on with my tutor, I'll be speaking with her, and then she'll just look at me with a blank face. I'm like, okay, clearly that was not French. Got it. Okay, let me try this again.
I applaud you for taking on learning a new language. It's that's not an easy thing to do. So good for you.
Seriously,
it's great.
No, well, thanks. It's like you. I enjoy learning and progressing, and I think that's always going to be a part of who I am. Like I've changed my career, I don't know, several times over at this point. And it's funny, my brother and I were having a conversation about, well, do we really know who we are or what we should be? And I said, you know what? I'm going to be 40 in a couple months, and honestly, I don't think I'm there yet.
Yeah.
Come back to me in about 20 years. I'll tell you who I am at that point.
Life is the journey, right? We're just trying out the things. Like, might as well while we're here. So,
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So, how did you find your way specifically to kettlebells? Was that?
I started in kettlebells in probably 2015, 2016 was the first time I placed my hands on some kettlebells. And that all tied back to that weight loss journey. Because I said, okay, we're going to try again. I can do this. And my coach at the time was very much into kettlebells with Strong First. I think you both probably know who Strong First are. So he would train me using that tool, and I just kind of fell in love with the tool. And with his encouragement, I said, okay, you know what? Let me try and see if I could get a certification, because why not? I want to learn something new. I want to try something new. Why not? So I went for the cert in 2017. I got everything except the snatches. you have to get 100 snatches in 5 minutes. And based on the weight that you use is based on your weight. So the heavier you are, the heavier the bell is, which I think is ridiculous. But anyways, that's a whole other story. So I had to use it was a 16 kilo that I had to use, and I got to 88. And I remember feeling so defeated in that moment because I was like, I've gotten everything. I've practiced for months. I don't understand. I've been here all weekend. I've stressed out my body. How did I manage to mess this? And I remember actually physically punching the wall at the gym. I was like, then let me just scoot this thing over here so that no one ever sees it. And I ended up trying and trying and trying. And there were mornings I would literally wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my 100. And I would never get it. And I would get even angry and angrier with myself. And this was pre me knowing better. So I kept on going until eventually one day I said, okay, nope, I'm going to get these goddamn 100. I'm going to do it. And I got it and I went, yes, I finally made it. But honestly, in that moment, the celebration just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Like I felt like all I did was just beat myself up to get there. And was it really worth it? Not really. But I kept on going. I stayed in a Strong First World. I volunteered a few more times just so that I could keep up that certification. But the one thing I always noticed was that I usually was the only one in the room. I would see a few other females, but it was definitely male dominated. And I would rarely see another Black individual. So I always felt out of place, no matter what gym it was. And yes, it was my home gym and my coach was there, but I just still felt out of place. And that was where I ended up meeting Damali. She had come 1 year as a volunteer coach. And in having conversations with her, I was like, this is more my speed. This is where I belong, over on this side of the world. And then we just kind of started chatting a little bit there, and I started learning from her and kind of veered away from the coach I was seeing, who's still very much involved in it's all about the fat loss, it's all about the weight loss. So definitely very different culture. And I just grew my love of kettlebells from there. It's always with me. There's one beside me right now at my desk. There's always one in my car. I had tons at work. In all the different areas I worked at the airport, I had a bell with me. I just find that it's so versatile. And all you need is one single bell, and it doesn't have to be, this 40 kilo or 80 kilo. I keep my 15s and I keep my 20s with me. It's enough for me to be able to do some presses. I could do some goblet squats. I could do some lunges. I could do some curls. And it's just one simple piece of equipment. I use other tools. Not to say I don't, because you need that variety in your life. So I definitely use other tools. But I just find that with this, I could do so much with it. Why not, utilize the tool for its abilities. I'm just trying to figure out how do I get it to Jamaica so the next time I'm there. That's what I need to figure out.
Yeah, because they're heavy. So, well, I guess
just take one. This is my carry-on.
Right?
This is it.
It's totally not a weapon at all.
No. I won't be swinging this on the plane. It's fine.
It'll stay right here.
It's funny because I had actually thought about bringing my Indian clubs with me on one of the last trips I went on, and I never check luggage. So I was like, well, I would definitely have to check these because there's no way they would let me on a plane with Indian clubs. I don't need to be that person at Boston Logan Airport. No, really, these are just for meditative purposes.
Sure they are, ma'am. Sure they are.
I got to get into the Indian clubs. I bought a pair, and I'm just kind of like, I don't really know how to use these. I must find someone. But then I stop myself. You cannot learn anything. Stop. Pause for a minute.
Exactly. Yeah, I did a course with Kelly Manzone.
Yes. Oh, she's fabulous.
Yeah, so good. So she had sent us like a video afterwards, like a follow along. So I just keep like doing that one over and over again. But it's great because once you get to a certain point and you just have like a couple of the movements down, then you can just put on some music and you just kind of find yourself just kind of flowing with them. Which I'm not somebody who has great coordination. So I don't know what they look like, but in my head, it looks real nice.
It's a beautiful thing. That's all that matters.
So.
That's all that matters. That's how I feel when I do like KB flows. I'm like, okay, so the bell goes to the side and up and under and around. I feel like that is not what I'm doing. It's definitely not what I'm doing.
If nobody sees it,
here, though.
If nobody else sees it, it doesn't count. So it doesn't matter.
I'm definitely always laughing at myself. So yeah, I feel that.
Right?
Yeah.
Enjoying the movement. I find that if you're in a space that you're not enjoying yourself, you're less likely to keep coming back to that space, right? So you should be somewhere where you're enjoying yourself. That's why you see me dancing all the time in my videos. I might as well enjoy.
So true. So true. So for some folks listening, I think they might be thinking, right, hearing that you specialize in working with the 9-to-5 crew and you're about keeping it simple, not spending hours at the gym. I think a lot of folks listening might be thinking, how is it possible that, if you're working 9-to-5, you're sitting at a desk, you're sitting behind the steering wheel commuting, how is it possible that a 30-minute or a 60-minute workout can actually be beneficial considering how much time you're spending not mobile? What would be your response to those folks that might be having those doubts as they're listening to this?
My response to those folks, I think, hey, first of all, if 60 is too long, let's go 30. I just want to get you moving. And that doesn't mean that you have to come in the gym and lift up all the things. Hey, if you just want to go for a walk, just go for a walk. I just want you to move. That is it. Because as we sit here, as I'm sitting here in this chair right now, I'm like, okay, yeah, I could feel my hip flexors already getting tight. They're already getting unhappy.
Yep.
I know I'm overstretching my glutes, making my hamstrings very sad at the moment. And I know that my shoulders are automatically doing this, although in my mind I'm telling it, sit up straight, come on, we're on camera. But I know it's already doing what it naturally does at a dance. So that 30 to 60 minutes is an opportunity for you to give your body some of the love that it needs, that gets neglected throughout the day as we sit, whether it's on that chair, or whether it's on that train, whether it's in that car. We just want to reverse those things. And that's what daily movement is. And daily movement doesn't have to mean you lifting up the weights all the time. It could be simple stretching at the end of the day. It could be going for that quick 20, 30-minute walk. Or, hey, if you want to, let's pick up those weights. And while we're getting the body moving, we're also getting it stronger so that it doesn't, the sit-in and the prolonged sit-in doesn't affect the body as much if you're able to strengthen and keep those muscles. Because the more we sit, we are losing muscle mass. You're bringing on things like varicose veins. I have a ridiculous amount of those because I waited way too long to realize the impact. Your neck, your shoulders, everything's getting stiff. So really, I just want you to move and loosen your body. And that could just be mobility, that could be flexibility, that could be going for a walk, as I said, or actually training and building up those muscles.
Yeah. So important. I think by and large, like, we hear and then, this news studies and things like that, like, oh, sitting is really bad for you, but folks don't appreciate like the actual individual ways in which they can really harm your body. And it doesn't take much. Like just because you're doing 8 hours at a desk doesn't mean you have to do 8 hours on the treadmill. It's not like a 1-for-1 kind of trade-off. Yeah. But I love that you kind of focus on those areas that need that extra love. I think that's so, so important and makes what you offer that much more valuable because it is targeted.
Yeah. Yeah. And do some movement snacks throughout the day. Like I'm fortunate that at work when I do go in, we have a sit stand desk. So I've now programmed a little thing in my calendar and it just tells me in 45 minutes time to stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little simple. And even if you don't have a sit stand desk, just throw something like that in your calendar. Stand up, stretch a little bit, take 5 minutes between calls. I try to now book calls at like that 50-minute, 55-minute mark. So then I have that little 5 minute buffer that hopefully I could do some stretching. And if not, at least it's there for when the person continues past the time anyways.
Yeah.
That's my program for the hour. Right? So just taking those brief moments to step away. It doesn't have to be that end of day. I used to do lunchtime little mini classes with my coworkers, and we would just book it 20 minutes. It was all that we did, but it was just an opportunity to break up the continuous sitting throughout the day. Right? So if you can't find that time at the end of the day, find 5 minutes 4 different times.
Yeah.
Right? And you've got 20 minutes. Easy peasy.
Love that. Love that.
I think that's a really great point. Because especially living in a all or nothing kind of world where it's, well, my coach or this workout that I found online or whatever workout you think you're going to do, if it's 60 minutes, I can't do 60 minutes today. So I guess I'm not going to do anything. And it's so easy to fall into that cycle. So that like little shift of, well, I'm going to move for 5 minutes now, move for 5 minutes then. And you know what? Even if I wasn't able to move today, tomorrow's another day. And like, I'm still a great person who deserves to get movement, right? Like, I don't have to beat myself up about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you. I had surgery on Tuesday for board removals. I've been suffering with those for quite a few years and been waiting on my surgery since June of last year. And I finally got a call last week and I was like, yes, I will take it. I will figure out anything else. But it means that I have not been able to move.
Yeah.
And in the past, I would have been very guilty about it. I would have probably pushed myself to start earlier than I needed to because of that mindset I had at the time. And now I'm just like, well, listen, my body needs rest at the moment and it's okay to pause.
Yeah.
And then just pick it back up again, right? So it's shifting folks' mindset. And it takes a long time. I'm not gonna lie, it takes a very long time to shift that mindset. But once you get there, it's my goodness, it is glorious on that side. It is just wonderful. I wish more people could come to this side.
Yeah. What kinds of things were helpful to you in shifting that mindset? Because I know so many people struggle with that, feeling of guilt. What kinds of things were helpful to you in getting to where you are?
I think a lot of it is mentorship with the right folks. As I shared, Damali has been a huge mentor for me in this field. There's been a lot of books that I've read that have helped me. I will send you guys a list actually.
I love
please.
And then that way you can share that out. So there's a few of them that have helped me quite a bit, and just getting into meditation, getting back into journaling, and remembering who I am. Therapy has done wonders. Listen, if folks aren't out there in therapy, go do the therapy. It does wonders, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just really helps to just let it all out because you hold on to that guilt for
Yeah.
so long, even if it has nothing to do with you, you truly hold on to that guilt. So being able to let that go, for me, was the first step. And therapy was a huge part of that. And then being able to say, okay, all right, let me read some more of those self-taught books. Okay, let me now grab some mentors in different areas of my life that can help me to shift my mindset into that positive space and loving myself and loving my body where it is. So therapy, books, mentors.
Love it.
The trifecta.
Yeah.
Trifecta of mindset shifts.
But just be willing to, there's going to be moments where that self-doubt is going to come, even with the trifecta.
Yeah.
I love that. And being able to just say, okay, all right, I feel like shit today. I don't feel good about myself. Okay, why don't I feel good about myself?
Mm.
What is prompting this? Okay, now what can I do to change it? Is there anything I can do to change it? And being able to talk those things through with yourself, you're able to say, oh, okay, so this is what's causing it. So if I change this and I now do B, I can be in a better space.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to be willing to be alone with yourself and be able to have those conversations with yourself.
Yeah.
And those aren't easy.
No.
My goodness, do they make a difference?
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I find that a lot of the work that I do with folks around that kind of mindset shift is, well, I don't feel good in my body, so I need to change my body. And it's like, okay, well, valid. Why, what are the feelings that come up around you in your body? And what else is happening in your world and in your mind when those feelings about your body come up? And what are the things that are more controllable that you can maybe start to shift and work through? And why don't we see if that helps how we view our body, as opposed to changing our body to change how we view it? And it doesn't come overnight, and it's always a work in progress, right? It's never, I don't think there's any human being, well, I don't like to speak in any absolutes, but would doubt that there is a human being in the world who is 100% happy with their bodies and their selves 100% of the time.
Yeah, agreed.
So
if they're out there, I would like to meet them.
I know, me too. Like, you know what? I'm sure that, like I said, I don't like to live in absolutes, but I'm sure there's somebody out there, probably somebody who has really tapped into, that meditative belief, system of life, right? Like, they found that right vibration for themselves. But I still think that for most people, even when you're like, there's going to be moments when you are getting ready to go out and you put on a pair of jeans that you think you love, and for whatever reason, you don't love them that day, right? It's not necessarily your body. It's, what else is happening in that time that is, creating that feeling about things.
Yes, yeah. Because we never know what folks are going through, right? We may look and see and go, oh, well, they look so happy, they look great. But underneath, there's so many other things going on, right?
Yeah.
That folks just don't know. I only just started opening up about my struggles with fibroid, although it's been a 4-year experience, but I'm only just talking about it now. But folks would look at me and go, oh, you're so happy-go-lucky, you're always so positive, you're always... Yes, but underneath all that, there's all these other things happening, right? So we always need to consider that and actually truly see the person, and not just look at their exterior.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for the, thank you for opening up about the fibroids and what you've been going through with that. Cause I think that is, something that a lot of people go through and don't necessarily share and talk about. And, if there's one person listening today that knows that, somebody else has been experiencing that challenge, and that you were able to get surgery, and hopefully that it's going to help make you feel better, and, knows that there's someone else out there with that challenge, can just be such a relief to know that they're not alone. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I started connecting with more folks online and just kind of listened to more podcasts around it. And it's, I never realized how many people were suffering from fibroids. It's incredible, the number, and we're all just so... But I feel like that's just the general consensus with most things, right? A lot of folks tend to just keep things to themselves. So it's interesting to see now, especially with COVID, how open folks are now and willing to share. And I think those are the things that make those true connections and build those communities, is being able to be open about what's going on and be honest and be authentic and just be you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think especially surrounding anything that has to do with, you know, challenges with uterus or your vagina or any sort of reproductive sort of challenges are always kept very hush hush for, you know, any number of reasons, because we feel we haven't grown up in a place where it's been an acceptable thing to talk about those things. No, those are private conversations, right?
Yeah.
Like even speaking with people with endometriosis and being like, knowing that the fact that there is no easy way to diagnose and treat that is really bananas.
Yeah.
That it's just expected that folks with uteruses should just suffer and just like deal with it, right? Just roll with it.
Totally normal to feel those things. Totally normal to bleed excessively and for long periods of time. It's normal. Don't worry about it.
It's normal.
Go
By
with
the time you hit 45 or so, it's okay. You'll go menopause. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, you have extreme pain every month for most of the month. Just, you know, no big deal. It can't be that bad.
Yeah.
No, just take an Advil. It's fine. And keep working and keep hustling and just keep on pushing it. It's a scary world. It is a scary world.
Yeah, it really, really is. It just kind of shows the lack of value placed on anyone who owns a uterus. And
definitely worried for, you know, the younger generation that's coming up. But I do hope that, you know, they'll pick up what we're putting down and slowly be able to open up and be able to talk to each other, because I watch my nieces and they don't have these conversations. My God, if I bring this up, no, Auntie, that's gross.
Oh,
I don't know about it, right? So it's I'm curious to see if, you know, maybe once they get into their 20s or so, then maybe that mindset would shift a little bit. But in the teenage years, they're not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I work at a K-8 school, and I find that most of the middle schoolers are they give me so much hope for the future. They are very open. They are very, I mean, and I'm speaking in a generalization here, obviously, but comfortable speaking their minds about what they believe is, you know, and see as injustice, from the dress code rules to, you know, not having enough recess time to, you know, we've had kids write all sorts of letters about things and actually get change to happen. And our high school kids were some of the biggest, when we went on strike earlier in the year, they were some of the biggest supporters, being at all the rallies and the picket lines and things. So I do have some good hope for the future generation in terms of a lot of things. But yeah, I think in terms of like the way sex ed is done is not.
Oh God, no.
No.
We're not there yet.
No.
We got a way to go.
Yeah. Yes. It's better than when we were kids, but it's still not there.
Not quite. And every time they try to introduce something new, somehow it gets cut or it gets shifted, it gets canceled a few months later. I'm just like, okay, one step forward, 3 steps back. Okay, and repeat. And so you're like, okay, eventually we'll get there. But my goodness, why all the extra steps?
Oh, I know.
Let's just get there now. But that's amazing to hear, Michelle. I love that. I saw a TikTok this morning. It was a young girl. She was probably, maybe I would say 5 or 6, and I guess her dad had asked her to do something and spoke a little harsh with her. And all you heard her little voice was say, "Can you just give me a moment, please? I just need some time just for myself. Just give me one moment." And then she turned and she sat, she crossed her arms, and she was just breathing. And I was like, I love this for you. I love that you're already there.
That's awesome.
You know, if only all adults could just say, okay, give me a moment.
Give me a moment.
Just give me a moment.
Yeah. If only.
We'll get there. It's hard to set those boundaries, right? When they've been lost for so long.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. And I think, you know, but so TikTok, Instagram, right? Social media, we can see it as like such like a, you know, an absolute cesspool of just like
Fair.
gross.
Yeah.
But then there's these pockets that you can find yourself in, and you're like, oh my gosh, change is happening. Good things are happening. Let's focus on this. Let's focus on this.
Yeah.
Because it is, I don't know if it's somehow just like innately in us to get hooked onto the negative. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know, but it can feel so easy to even band together on something that's negative, right? Or commiserate, have that thing to commiserate about, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's such a shift in our brains, and I would say our souls, when we start to be able to, all right, I'm irritated about this. How can I change this? Let me find the positive and focus on that thing, right? Like that, like those moments of this is actually a wonderful thing that we can then use to help us fix this thing. Like, I guess problem solving, instead of just downloading.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made any sense.
Is what's always pushed, right?
Yeah.
It's never the good news. Those are the things that are shared maybe 2-3 times, and the bad news is shared 10-20 times over.
Mm-hmm.
It's sensational, I guess.
Sensational,
right?
yeah.
So then the good news story.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for those to get out of the weeds.
Yeah.
It is. But I think that's another way that simple, joyful movement, like you do with your folks, can really help work through some of that, all the negativity and challenges of being alive on planet Earth right now, right? So having those 10, 15, 20 minutes to move and focus in on something else to clear your brain is also another huge benefit. Of that movement practice.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get better on the TikTok and on the Instagram. I'm like, okay, just share.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to make sure that I put out more things there for my followers with these little quick little movements that you could do throughout the day, and just get yourself moving. My goodness, just throw on some music and dance. Maybe that's the next one I'll share.
Yes.
Just dancing. It is not great. I will warn you from that. I'm not a dancer.
If you're dancing, you're a dancer.
Yes. I like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe that will be the next one. Just turn on the music and just dance.
Go for it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I look forward to that one. Maybe I'll join you.
Ooh, all right. I like it.
I will watch.
Okay, we need the audience. We need someone to cheer us on.
I will.
Yeah.
I will cheer. I am the best cheerleader. I will write your names on my stomach. I will.
Great.
Love it.
So speaking of Instagram and all the things, where can everybody find you?
So on Instagram, you could find me as Mishi27. I know it's very different than Coach MJ, but that is my other name. So hey,
Perfect.
Mishi27 is where you could find me. You can also find me on TikTok. I am getting up to speed on TikTok and learning that app slowly. So you could find me there as Marjorie Michelle 4. And my website info is on my Instagram and my link tree. But for ease, it is marjorie-francis.my.canva.site. So folks can find me there. And every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m., I host my Simple Strength class. It's a 45-minute class, so folks can also join me over in that space. It's available in person. I have my garage is my gym, so folks can join me in person here in Brampton, Canada, or virtually online. So feel free to reach out and let's connect and let's build that community with our Simple Joyful movement.
Yay! Very exciting. And at some point, I have to get myself up to Canada to come visit all of you.
Yes.
On the podcast.
Get myself up there for a Sunday swings or something.
Yes. That'll be fun. That would
That'd
be
be
really
fun.
fun. Yes.
All right, I'll work on that.
I love it. I love it. I gotta get myself down there as well too, right? So both ways, both ways. We're gonna go
Both ways.
2023. This is the year.
The year for travel.
One more thing on the list for 2023.
Yes, yes. It's okay. It's not learning. It's fine. It will
Oh, good. Okay.
This is social.
Yeah, this is the break from learning. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. And, your first podcast. Congratulations. You did it. And you did amazing.
Thank you. Thank you
All
both
right.
for having me. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
So everybody listening, make sure you go and check out all of the offerings and follow MJ everywhere that she is. We'll link everything in the show notes. So have a wonderful day, everybody.